So the next stage is to clean that up.
And then there are people who are experts, the roasters. Those are internationally acclaimed. Those who come in, because you can do a lot of things just by understanding the roasting machine and your beans.
Well, I've
Medium to dark. Medium to dark. This is light to medium roast. What I want you to do? Coffee. What's the? Okay. Instant coffee can make it wrong. Yeah, this is where it is. So just go. That's all we need to show, and then after that, that's it. There's a dark, dark, medium to dark, medium to dark. So yeah, I think it would be nice to just show the different, some knowledge. That's what this. Like this is a pea berry. Pea berry. Okay. Had anything? You understand? Never seen. Just
like me, I don't know that.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Good morning. Welcome to my office. This is my espresso machine. These are the tools that I need to make a coffee. I'm slowly going to take you through the whole of the equipment, and that is my grinder, and this is my espresso machine. We'll slowly start with the parts of the espresso machine. On your espresso machine, you have this where you see my cups are resting right up top here. This part is called the cup tray. This is to keep my cups warm. Cup tray. And then we move over to the screen here. You'll see that there is buttons on the machine. These buttons are called brewing buttons. These are the buttons that you are going to press for you to initiate your brew. Next to it you have this here. This is called a steam one lever. This is what I use to initiate the steam that comes from my steam wand. To get steam out of my machine, I use my steam wand, and this is what I use to texturize my milk. My steam wand has a black rubber to prevent me from burning, and this black rubber is called the isolation rubber. It also has this part here at the end, which is called the steam wand tip. Now come to this unit here. There is these two units here, of which this, which is called a portafilter, is going to lock into. This unit here is called a group head. So these two are your group heads, and then you'll have a hot water dispenser. From your hot water dispenser, you then get to your bottom, which are your drip trays. And that is our espresso machine. I will now move over to the small tools that you are going to need for you to be able to function on an espresso machine.
Go for it.
This right here is the small tools that you're going to need as a barista. Firstly, to start with, is what you're going to use to clean. This is called a blind portafilter basket. It is blind because it does not have perforations on it, and you use it for the cleaning of the espresso machine. Next, you have a multi-use tool. This is called a Barista tool. This Barista tool has a multi-function to open up the steam one tip and also to open up your portafilters during cleaning.
Just pause there. I'm getting the taps and backgrounds. I just want to do it from this angle. Okay, go for it.
Okay, this is your Barista tool, a multi-purpose tool which has this here to open up your portafilters, which you're going to cover in cleaning, and it also has these banners here that help you to open up the steam one tip. You then have what you call a scoops brush. This is what you're going to need to clean. It has a scoop to measure out the detergent that you're putting into the machine, and it has this brush here to clean the group head. You now then have your surface cleaning brush. Your surface cleaning brush is going to be used to brush away any spent grinds on top of our counter. We then have a temping tool. A temping tool is going to be used to compress our coffee into the portafilter. And then last but definitely not least will be a small scale. Our small scale is going to be used to measure out how much grammage are we going to use for us to make a coffee.
Go for it.
Okay, now that we've explained all the different parts of the espresso machine, we're going to explain what I'm going to be doing in terms of opening procedures. So you'll see that on my espresso machines, my portafilters are laying on the drip tray, and they're not locked into the group heads. So now what I will do, the first thing when I get in, my machine has a switch here. If my machine were off, example, so the first thing I have to check when I get into my store, I have to make sure that my machine is on. Okay, so I'm then going to switch on my machine.
Indicate that there's a light that you can see on the
So you'll see on the switch, if the machine is on, that light is going to be on. So the machine is quickly switching on, and now I have to make sure that I ensure that all the different things that I need for me to be able to function are here. Firstly, I need to make sure that I have enough coffee on my grinder. I have enough coffee on my grinder. Check. My portafilters have to go back to be locked on into the group heads. They are locked in here so that the temperature is the same with the group head, so that they heat up, because we cannot make coffee with portafilters that are cold. So I'm going to lock my portafilters in, and then now the second thing, I've checked my coffee, I've checked that my portafilters are on the machine, and now I have to make sure that I have 3 different colored cloths. Here I am using a brown cloth, and this brown cloth I'm going to use to be wiping the portafilter basket to make sure that it's clean and to make sure that it is dry. Those are the 2 very important factors. The brown cloth, I have to wipe my portafilter to make sure that it's clean, to make sure that it's dry. Secondly, I have my white cloth that you see lying next to the steam wand. This white cloth is going to be for my milk, and I'm going to use this to wipe my steam wand. And then lastly, I have a surface cleaning cloth, preferably dark in color, which I'm going to use to wipe the counter. So 3 different colored cloths. It is very important that you do not cross-contaminate. That cloth stays on the grinder and will not move from the grinder. It's only going to wipe the portafilter. The white is only going to wipe the milk from the steam one, and then the blue is going to wipe the surface.
Cool.
Okay? To wipe away any coffee grounds, you are going to have this. This is our surface cleaning brush. Our surface cleaning brush, as soon as it goes next to our grinder, is going to be called the grinder minder.
Rolling.
Okay, so this is our grinder here. As you see, our grinder cleaning cloth is still up here. So I'm just going to quickly explain what the grinder does. So the grinder is what determines what kind of coffee, what size of coffee do we have. You see now it's still in bean form. Once it gets into the grinder, it's then going to be ground up into a powdery form. Okay, so this is our grinder. Our grinder has a hopper which harbors our coffee beans. This is our hopper, and on the side you'll see a latch. This latch is our hopper gate to control. If I do not want any coffee inside, I'm just quickly going to close that latch. After the latch, you then have this compartment here that's going to have numbers on all grinders. You'll have this compartment which controls grind size. You then have a dosing chamber. That is our dosing chamber. And we have a portafilter rest, which is going to rest our portafilter. So our portafilter is going to rest on the portafilter rest. We then have at the bottom here what is going to catch our loose grinds, which is our waste tray. And then on the side you have our on and off button. So things to note, we have 2 types of grinders that we use. Firstly, we have an on-demand grinder, which we have in front of us. This grinder is going to grind consistently, and it's also going to give us the correct grammage all the time. It is preferred to more than the manual grinder, because the manual grinder is not going to give us a consistent dosage all the time, and it's going to change most of the time. So this gives us an accurate dosage all the time. As you see on our dosing chamber, you have 1 and you have 2, which are the pre-selections for a single shot and a double shot. Okay, not a problem. Okay, so this is our selection. Our selection is a 1. That will be for a single shot of espresso. Our single shot of espresso is going to be between 7 and 8 grams. And then we have a 2 there, which represents the double, which is going to be our double shot. Our double shot is going to be between 14 and 16 grams. So our single shot, very important to not remember on the small tools, we have a small scale, so it is very important that we measure out a single shot, and then it is important that we measure out the second shot, which is a double shot, which is going to be between 14 and 16 grams.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, so just like with any other type of machinery, safety precautions when it comes to working on the grinder. First things first, if ever that you're going to remove this hopper here, make sure that this latch is closed. Because if this latch is closed, the moment you remove the hopper, all the beans are going to fall into the floor. So that is the first thing to note. Another thing.
Show it again first. Show how it opens and closes.
So the latch opens, that will be open and there's beans coming into the grinder, and then it also closes, and that is when I want to take out the latch. Also, when I remove my hopper, that area there has what you call grinder burrs. It is what grinds the coffee beans. You never want to put your hands inside here, even though you are cleaning, as long as this machine is still on. So things to note, this latch, when you want to take away the hopper, the latch is closed. Do not insert anything or put your hands in there while this is still on. If I want to put anything in here using my hands, firstly, the grinder needs to go off. So at the end of every shift, I'm going to make sure that my grinder is off. And as soon as I come in the morning, it's only when it's going to come on.
Cool.
Okay. So in terms of cleaning our grinder, when you need to clean it, remember that you need to switch it off whenever that you're going to put your hand anyway in there to get rid of beans or to clean the grinder. Secondly, to wipe this, you're going to make sure that you wipe it with a damp cloth. The cloth should not be wet, just damp. When you wipe it with a damp cloth, because there's still current running through the machine, you need to unplug it from the plug. So switch the machine off and also unplug it from the main plug, and then give it a good wipe. Good.
Good. Cool.
Okay, we've explained that our grinder is what determines the grind sizes that we have. We're going to touch on the 3 different grind sizes that we have, but firstly, I'm going to show you how this works. Firstly, you need to remove your portafilter from the machine. You'll see that there is grounds of puff on the espresso on this particular portafilter, and it's also wet. So this is what I'm going to use my brown cloth for. My brown cloth, I'm going to make sure that this portafilter is clean, and I'm going to make sure that the portafilter is dry. If I do not do that, that means all the coffee from the prior coffee that I made is going to affect the taste of the coffee that I'm making now. So firstly, make sure that this is clean, so give it a good wipe, make sure that it is also dry. This is a grinder on demand grinder, so at the press of a button you can see that I have selected 2, which is a double dosage for a double shot of espresso. I'm then going to grind my coffee. That is my ground coffee. So my coffee goes into the burrs and then comes out on the dosing chamber, and this is the coffee that I'm going to have. This will be 14 grams because it is a double shot of espresso, so between 14 and 16. And the next thing that I need to do now is to compress my coffee. If you remember very well, we said we need a temping tool for us to be able to compress our coffee. So this is a temping tool. This is what we need to compress our coffee. So how I temp, firstly I have to make sure that my surface is level. Okay, so I'm just going to tap it twice and make sure that I have a level surface. And when I temp, I need to always make sure that my temping tool is straight on the flat and it has a flat surface. So firstly, I'll just place it before I can apply any pressure, and then I'm going to be applying on average a 20 kilo of pressure on this particular portafilter. I'm then going to use my 2 fingers, my thumb and my index finger, and then press the coffee down. When I press it down, I always have to make sure that I have a flat surface. If I fail to do that, what happens is called channeling. What channeling is that if ever that my surface is skew, water is going to go to the lowest part for it to start extracting. So after I've tamped, I'm going to give it 3 polishes. So 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to make sure that the spout of the portafilter and the ears of the portafilter are clean. So I'm going to just one motion, wipe and wipe to make sure that there is no grounds of coffee here or here. I'm then going to move over to my espresso machine. Important thing, I firstly have to flush whatever is on the group head out. So I'm firstly going to back flush my machine for 2 to 3 seconds, stop, and only then am I going to insert my portafilter. And as soon as this portafilter is inserted, you have to make sure that I immediately start my brew. Our extraction time will always have to be between 25 and 30 seconds. Less than 25 and 30 seconds is going to be an under-extracted espresso. More than 25 to 30 seconds is going to be an over-extracted espresso. So our espresso always will need to be between 25 and 30 seconds. And in those 25 to 30 seconds, I need to be getting 30 milliliters of espresso. So this is my espresso. This is a perfect shot of espresso. You can see this foamy part of this espresso, which is called the crema. A perfect espresso will need to have this thick crema.
Show me the measurement side so I can see it better. But go back where you were.
Okay.
Cool.
So this is 30 mils of an espresso. There is this foamy part that you see, the brown color that's here. That brown colored foamy part is called the crema. With a good espresso, this will have to be thick. So the crema, important thing to note is that the crema is actually part of your espresso and it should not exceed that 30. The 30, including the liquid, should be with the crema. Also the color, you need a golden brown color in terms of your espresso. Your crema needs to have this golden brown color.
Cool.
That would be a perfect espresso. So remember things to note: extraction time 25 to 30 seconds. In 25 to 30 seconds, I need to be getting 30 milliliters of extract, which we are going to call our espresso. And as soon as I'm done extracting a shot of espresso, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to knock out all the spent grinds, give my portafilter a wipe, and then lock it back into the machine.
Alright, cool. Alright, okay.
Okay, so now that we've mentioned how to pull a shot of espresso, what I'm going to show you that on the grinder, remember when we named our grinder, we mentioned that there's this part here that has the numbers. This is the part that determines the particle size of our coffee beans when they are ground up. So you'll see here, you have firstly coarse. So what is meant by a coarse ground is that the grind size is going to be big and the particles of coffee is going to be big. So moving this direction to my left, as it says on the machine there, it is a coarse grind. In the middle, it is what we're always looking for. That is going to be our medium grind. And going back to our extraction, that will be 25 to 30 seconds. And then on our far right, we have a grind that is too fine. So we have coarse, medium, and fine. Fine is going to be particles that are small, and it's going to deliver an over extraction. And in the middle is what we're going to be always looking for, and we want to find the balance between these two, and the balance is called the medium grind. Okay, now that we've explained the 3 different grind sizes as seen on our grinder, I'm going to now explain to you with the actual grounds. Firstly, we're going to start with our coarse grind. Our coarse grind is grind sizes that have big particles. So how am I going to tell this? Firstly, we have extraction, but first I'm just going to work on fill. So when you hold your grind size and put it in between your fingers, you can tell, you can feel the grinds in your fingers. And this is a grind size that's 2 coarse. Put it in between your fingers and you can actually feel the difference and feel the different particles within your fingers. Okay, so this you can liken it to, say, sand. When you put in water, sand is going to water is going to gush through sand, and with the coarse grind, water is going to go quickly through the coarse grind and it's going to under extract our coffee.
Just stand there so that he knows he's talking to you, because so that the camera's on that focus. Just at the camera so he knows you. Okay, go for it.
So this here is our coarse grind. Should I?
You keep on looking at it.
Should I start again?
That's, you can continue from there.
Okay. So this here is our coarse grind. This is going to deliver an under extracted coffee. And then now we move over to the other one that we do not want. And this is a grind size that's too fine. It's either you're going to have a grind size that's too coarse or have a grind size that's too fine. The grind size that's too fine, as seen with our coarse grind, that I can still feel the little bits in within my fingers. With a grind size that's too fine, it is impossible. It's almost powder foam. I cannot feel the different particles of the coffee. So the moment I put it in between my fingers, I literally cannot feel anything. It is almost in powder form. But then what we are trying to achieve here is a grind size that's medium. With the grind size that's too fine, remember that with the coarse grind, water will quickly gush through the coarse grind and result in an under-extracted coffee. With the fine grind, what's going to happen, water is going to take a really long time to get through the coffee, which is going to result in an over-extracted coffee. And then we move over to what we want here. This is a medium grind. This is the medium between your coarse and your fine. The medium grind that we find is a medium grind, which is 25 to 30 seconds. This here, you can still feel little bits of different grind sizes, but then it's not going to be as much as the coarse and it's not going to be as fine as the fine. So we have here our medium
Just
grind.
Just, you had other there as well, so just want to clean that so you can do that again.
It was getting mixed up.
Yeah, sorry. Just,
Okay, now here what we have is our medium grind. Our medium grind is what we're always looking for. We're not looking for a grind that's too coarse. We're not either looking for a grind that's too fine. This is our medium grind. Our medium grind is just going to be the in-between between these two. And this is what's going to deliver for us a well-balanced espresso. So a medium grind is what's going to lie between a fine grind and a grind that's too coarse, which is going to get water through quickly. And then we have a fine grind that's going to take time in terms of our extraction, which is going to over-extract. What's going to extract perfectly is our medium grind.
do you want to mention that you can have what happens when you go a little bit coarse? You got your ultimate, but what happens when you go a little bit coarse, when you go a little bit in taste way? Or is there anything that...
No, I think for the grinding profile, 100%. Yeah.
Alright, good.
Now, what the most important thing is now, that you demonstrate what would be the effect.
Alright, now that we've gone through our 3 different grind sizes, we're then going to move over to actually showing you what I'm going to get with a grind size that's too coarse. Remember that we said with a grind size that's too coarse, water is going to quickly gush through, which is going to result in an underdeveloped coffee. What we're going to show you now is how it's going to look in terms of our espresso. Also, we have our fine grind. Remember we said our fine grind was small particles, and water is going to take a relatively longer time for it to extract, which is going to result in an over-extracted espresso. Our over-extracted espresso is going to be over 30 seconds, and then our under-extracted espresso is going to be less than 25 seconds. What we're going to be looking for is our medium grind, which is going to deliver the best crema and the well-balanced espresso that is going to be between 25 and 30 seconds. We are not going to under-extract, and also we're not going to over-extract.
Now you see that I'm
So I'm now going to move over and show you the 3 different cremas that I'm going to achieve with these 3 different grind sizes. Firstly, with the grind that's 2 course, you're going to see in terms of color and crema is not going to be the same with the course, with the medium and the fine.
Good.
Good?
Excellent. Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is show you what an under-extracted espresso is going to be like. That will be an espresso that is what? 2 course. Okay, so still by temping everything is still going to be the same. Apply approximately 20 kilos of pressure. Soft polish, 1, 2, 3. Wipe my spouts, wipe my ears, and then again flush out all my old coffee in there for 2 to 3 seconds, and as soon as I insert my button, immediately goes on. So what you'll notice here is that the coffee is going to run relatively faster because the water goes through easily. I will not be able to achieve the 25 to 30 seconds I'm looking for, and in 15 seconds I already have 30 mils of extract. You'll see I do not have the golden brown color that I was looking for in terms of extract. And also my crema is going to be thinner compared to a perfect espresso. So now this is our under extracted espresso. You'll see now with the level of crema that we have, it's almost thin. It's thin and almost non-existent because it has under extracted. So we got a time of 15 seconds, and the time that we're always looking for is a time of 25 to 30. You'll see the color is almost pale-like, and our crema is almost non-existent. It's very thin because our coffee is what? Under extracted. So this will be an example of an under extracted coffee. It's still the same amount of 30 mils, but then the crema is much thinner.
Right, so put it there and then you can.
What is a characteristic that is not covered properly and all this thing?
All right.
Can you see it, okay?
Yeah.
You talk about the underextract and there is a crema. About just one, short, very short, not long. Yeah, okay?
Okay, now this is our under extracted coffee, and as you can see with our grinds that was 2 course, our coffee didn't extract properly, and what you have is an under extracted coffee, and the crema is thin and almost as dissipated. It's going to take literally a few seconds, and then the crema is going to dissipate.
Good.
Great, excellent. Now the next.
Okay, I'm rolling. You might say that. Say, after everyone, clean up.
Yeah, just.
Okay. Maybe
So
mention that.
after making each and every espresso, you have to make sure that your surface is clean. You're going to need your surface cleaning brush for that to wipe out any grinds that have fallen onto your surface.
Tell me you're doing a grainy one or.
Yeah, I'll just tell you now. Okay, so now what you're going to make for us here is now an over extracted espresso that is made using a grind that is too fine. So a grind that is too fine, remember, is going to take a long time for the espresso to extract.
Just take your hands away so you see the flow.
So you'll see that the flow is dripping. So instead of a good uniform flow, the coffee is actually dripping onto the glasses. So a great espresso, a great tasting espresso needs to take 25 to 30 seconds, but then we're already at 35 seconds and we are yet to reach the 30 mils mark. Okay, so visually, what you're going to see with an over-extracted espresso is that our over-extracted espresso is almost going to be too dark. It's going to be darker than the paler, coarser grind. Our over-extracted espresso is almost going to have the same crema as the perfect espresso, but then it's going to be too dark. And it's going to take over 30 seconds.
Good. So we're taking
Or what is that?
That's over-extracted.
Over. So this is here.
Yeah.
yeah, that's there. Let me just get back.
Is it okay? Because I need to see if we need to see the full circle of the crema. Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so now this is our over-extracted espresso. Our over-extracted espresso is going to be a little darker than the much paler, coarser grind. And you'll see that on the crema, you're going to have these white spots that are sitting on the crema, which are called blonding, which represent that the coffee is actually over-extracted. And here is our grind that made our over-extracted coffee.
Good.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is extract a perfect shot of espresso. Sorry, I need to take that again. I forgot to open
Your
the
settings, eh? Just explain
Just need to quickly.
say what you're doing.
That's fine.
You've changed it.
Okay. So what we're going to do now is pull a perfect shot of espresso. Remember, you always have to temp level. Polish, 1, 2, 3. And then just wipe away any grounds that might be here or the grounds that might be on the spouts. Backflash your machine for 2 to 3 seconds. And as soon as you insert your portafilter, you have to immediately start brewing. So you'll see with our flow, it will almost flow like honey off a spoon. I need to reset that. Sorry.
Take it from there.
So you'll see now with the perfectly extracted coffee, our flow is almost going to flow like when you put honey on a spoon and tilt it. That's the flow that I'm going to get. I'm not going to get the dripping that I got with an over-extracted espresso, and I'm also not to get an espresso that's moving too fast like the espresso that had under-extracted. This espresso is going to be able to reach 25 to 30 mils in between 25 and 30 seconds. My time is 28. As you can see, I have a thick crema, and my color is the golden brown color of a perfectly extracted espresso that I'm looking for. So 25 to 30 seconds, 30 mils of espresso.
All right, let's put it there. Okay, go for it.
Okay, so what I have here now is a perfectly extracted espresso. You can see that the crema covers the whole circumference of the cup. The color is the golden brown color, and it is not as dark as the over-extracted espresso. And it is going to taste well balanced and flavorful.
You were explaining the grains on the others.
And the ground is a medium grind, which is going to deliver for us a perfect espresso.
No, example, 3 different. And you can say that this is
So again, that's
over
that
extract,
one, that's
under
that
extract,
one.
and this one.
So now you see here a visual representation of an under extracted coffee. You can see that the crema is dissipated and is no more. An over extracted espresso, too dark. And then in the middle, we have what you achieved with the medium grind, which is a perfect shot of espresso, which you got in 25 to 30 seconds.
Let's do that just so we have the close-ups there.
this one.
It's more about showing it at the top. On the top. Just take your hands away. Just recording it in case we can use it. Cool. So let's just get that while you're doing that. If you can move your hand once you're just so that you see everything.
No, I'm just turning it off here. Just
Tell me when you're ready.
Yeah.
What is the weight of this pole tire?
The old DeFi.
Is that?
Yeah. But same machine they probably should be the same, but they just need to make sure that you tear it first.
Then you have to explain it.
Yeah, I just need to quickly
Set
check
it
the
up
grammage.
and you can go through it.
So there's different coffee that I put here.
So, for everyone's side. Nearly? Nearly? Yep, can you? Yep. She told me 11:30. I forgot to tell you I was on a shoot. Let me just check how far they are. Oh, did you get a call now? No, I said let me call Marty. She said I was supposed to let you know they'll be there at 11 o'clock. 11:30. Let me just quickly check. For me now. Okay. Good.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Clear it.
Go for it.
Just you have to say first, introduce, sorry,
Yeah.
don't record it.
Yeah.
Just say that I'm going to show you now how to put a perfect shot. And the technique to put the perfect shot is A, B, C, D, all these things, and machine, your grain, and all that.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, now I'm going to now show you how we're going to pull the perfect shot of espresso. Remember the variables for us to pull a perfect shot of espresso. Number one is our extraction time. Our extraction time will always need to be between 25 and 30 seconds. Secondly, we need to make sure that we have the correct grammage for a double shot of espresso if you're going to be making a double shot. And remember we said our double shot of espresso needs to be between 14 and 16 grams. We have a scale here which we're going to measure out, and we'll begin just now. Remember, portafilter always needs to be dry, it always needs to be clean. Then I'm going to begin extracting my shot of espresso now. Firstly, I'll just quickly tear my scale. Level out my coffee. Weigh out how much coffee do I have. I have 16 grams of ground coffee, which is going to give me a double shot of espresso. I have to use the correct temping technique. My thumb, index, make sure that my temp is straight. Apply pressure approximately 20 kilos. Polish 1, 2, 3. Wipe away whatever ground coffee might be on the spouts and the ears. Very important to back flush before inserting your portafilter. As soon as the portafilter is inserted, I will quickly start brewing my coffee, and I need to get my coffee within 25 and 30 seconds.
Show me the measurement, yeah.
So within 25 to 30 seconds, I need to have 30 ml of extract.
Good.
And this is my perfect shot of espresso.
Cool. Do that.
Okay, so now that we've extracted our coffee, we extracted our coffee from a medium grind. The medium grind is what's going to deliver for us a 25 to 30 second shot. We got the correct grammage, the correct grind size, which is the medium grind, which is not the coarse, which is under extracted, or the fine that is over extracted. This is a well balanced espresso. The crema is covering the whole of the cup and it is smooth and velvety.
Good.
Okay.
It's mainly the middle one is going to be.
This is too bad.
What I've got is I've got like a still shot. I'll just try and make that still. Good. Good.
Okay, so now we have an under extracted coffee which has little to no crema, a thin layer of crema. We have our perfectly extracted coffee which is a thick crema, and you can see that the crema is covering the whole of the cup. And also what we have right on the far end is an over extracted coffee. So we took less than 25 seconds for an under extracted coffee, 25 to 30 for a perfectly extracted coffee, and over 30 seconds for an over extracted coffee.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to touch on milk. Milk is what we're going to be building on top after we've made the espresso. So, very important things to know about milk. The type of milk that you choose to use is going to determine how much of texturization you're going to get at the end of the day. So the type of milk that you always want to use is full cream milk, because it has the right protein content and it also has the right fat content. Those two are what's going to deliver a velvety, silky, and almost like wet paint looking like milk. Okay, so now I'm quickly going to show you what you're going to use. Remember that on the part of the machine we have the steam wand. This is our steam wand. This is what we're going to use to texturize our milk. The do's of the steam wand: always you have to make sure that our steam wand is clean. You have a white cloth. Before and after you steam up your milk, you'll need to purge out whatever is left in the steam wand. You'll see now, as soon as I open this, there is water that comes out. If you do not purge before, that water gets into the milk and dilutes the milk. Also, after we've made our milk, this will stay, the milk will stay in, and it's going to block our steam wand. So before and after our steam wand, you have to make sure that you purge out your steam wand. The do's and the don'ts: you will never reheat milk. Once milk is heated, you cannot reheat it again. So, can't reheat milk. Always have to make sure that you purge the steam wand. You purge it before and you purge it after you make your milk. You will not reheat your milk, because once that chemical process is gone, it is impossible to reverse. So we're going to start with our milk now. It is very important that you get the right amount of milk so that you do not have to reheat milk. On a jug, you need to make sure that you only put milk just 1 finger above the spout of the jug.
How much
So-
milk and all that? Yeah.
Just 1 finger, and then my milk is going to stay there.
Cool, cool. Go again, 1 finger.
So 1 finger on the spout, and then you can pour in your milk. So that's how you're going to measure out your milk. Again, remember that the first thing I said that you need to do firstly, you need to purge out your steam wand. That's to get rid of any water that might be still sitting there. Now I am going to submerge my milk into my steam wand. What I want to do is on the tip, I do not want to put the whole milk pitcher in. I just want to submerge just the tip of the steam wand tip. So just submerge just the tip and then just go a little off center and tilt. So the tip, and then only can I open up my steam wand. So straight in, a bit off center at a slight tilt. At 35 degrees, I'm going to stop aerating my milk. Aerating my milk, you'll hear the stretching sound. This is the hissing sound that you're going to hear, the tsk, tsk, tsk sound. At 35 degrees, I'll want to stop my stretching, and then I'm going to work till 65 degrees Celsius, which is going to be the end temperature that I start with. I'm now going to open. So what I should be hearing now is this hissing sound. I'll want this hissing sound till there is a change in temperature in my jug, which there is now. I'll submerge further in, and once my milk is hot, I'm going to switch this off. Again, remember, before and after, you need to purge your steam wand. Place your cloth back, and also now after I've made my milk, I just one firm bang, and then I'm going to sew my milk. I'm going to sew my milk till I can see the reflection of light inside it. My milk must be silky, must be smooth, must look like wet paint.
Hold it. Just want to focus, okay? Go. Cool.
Okay, so now I'm going to make you a perfectly made cappuccino. That will be mixing the two things that we've been doing. Firstly, getting the grind size right, getting our grammage right, and getting everything right on this pot, and then moving on to the milk, texturizing our milk the perfect way. Remember, you stop aeration of your milk at 35 degrees, and once the milk starts burning your hand, which will be your two fingers, you immediately stop. So you're going to now mix the two, our milk and our espresso, and you're going to make a lovely cappuccino. So remember, still, you have to always clean your portafilter, clean and dry. Just quickly tear off my portafilter to make sure I have the correct grammage. Toss. Level. $16 grams of coffee. Make sure that I do not temp skew. So straight. Apply 20 kilos of pressure. Polish. 1, 2, 3. Wipe away any grounds that might be on the spouts and ears. Back flush my machine. Immediately start brewing. So remember, always have to be watching my shot. I need to make sure that my shot is still in between that 25 and 30 seconds that I'm looking for before I can now start texturizing my milk. I have a 27-second shot. Only then can I now move to my milk. First things first, before you steam up milk, you need to purge the steam on to get rid of any excess water that might still be sitting there. Pull out your steam wand. Use the spout of the jug to get into the jug. Submerge just the tip of the steam wand tip, and then I can open up my steam wand. At this point, I want to hear the stretching sound till the jug is warm to the touch. Once that has happened, I'll submerge further in, and wait for the milk to warm up. Once it has done that, I'll quickly switch it off. Put my jug down, same order, purge.
Remember,
Give-
you did something automatically now, you banged it. Yeah, you. So it's part of that where you did it automatically. Just say you did that.
Okay, so as you saw that I almost automatically banged my jug, so give it that firm bang to release any bubbles that might still be in the milk. And then what you're going to have to do now is swirl the milk till you can see the light shining through the milk. I'm then going to have my espresso and my milk, and I'm going to put the two together. What I'm going to make is a cappuccino with a very simple heart. All I need to do, pour straight into the middle, and as soon as my cup is 3/4 full, slowly drop my jug and cut through it. So when you pour, always pour with your handle facing you, so that when you serve it to a right-handed customer,
Because the milk is still okay.
Okay, go for it.
okay, so when you pour, always pour with your handle facing you,
So this way. And then just get it. Cool. Go for it.
and then you pour straight into the middle of the cup. You start high, and at 3/4 you want to drop the jug further down. What you're going to see is a blob that comes up, and then you just want to cut through it, and then you have a heart.
Maybe on the side, I think I can clean all the table here. Define line
So
out.
about thickness or whatever,
Yeah.
what you should be looking at.
Alright, so there we have a perfect cappuccino. You can see the contrast, you can see the white with the brown, and this will be a perfect cappuccino. The foam thickness will be 1/3 in the cup, so we divide this cup into 3. 1/3 of this cup is going to be foam, and the rest will be liquid. And here we go, perfect cappuccino.
Great, excellent.
Okay, so let me just quickly make the espressos, and then when you start with milk, I'll
And then you
explain.
must say that
Yeah.
the reason we drew this art, because people drink, is a sensory experience. People drink, people eat and drink by the eyes
With the
before
eyes,
they
yeah.
actually consume.
So I'm going to make 2. So when I'm done with the first one, I'm just going to show you, and then I'm going to move on to the second one. Okay.
Just make sure that your hand doesn't come.
Yeah.
It must be for the camera.
Turn your body
So
to-
just be
Okay.
like.
Go for it.
Okay, so now what I'm going to show you is a level 2 art, latte art. As you saw with the cappuccino, we made a very simple heart. What I'm going to do now is put that heart together with something else. I'm going to make the second basic pattern that we have, that is going to be our Rosetta. Okay, remember again with our milk, first things first, make sure that you purge your steam wand. Insert your milk, just the tip, and you should be hearing the stretching whilst the milk is cold. When our milk is hot, just going to quickly switch it off. And the last thing again, purge. Then come back, one firm bang to get rid of whatever bubbles might still be there. And then we're going to swirl our milk. So another bang, swirl. And now we're going to create a tulip. And what we're going to create is a 3-tier tulip.
Yeah. Perfect. But your milk is blocking the view.
Go for it.
We're going to quickly again do the same pour.
Turn more to me. Me, to me, to me, to me.
And we have our tulip.
Lovely. And that will also work properly.
And also just talk about it, that how your hand must be moving, what, as you like to explain it to somebody.
I'm recording, so mention things. Just
Alright.
talk. Just mention, say, look at this, watch your milk,
What are you doing?
clean your cup, you know.
Alright.
You can talk while you're busy. If you come across something you don't think of, mention it. Maybe say why the next one is more complex.
Okay. Still basic, but okay. So now what we're going to make is a rosetta. This is one of our basic patterns that we have. Still a very simple movement with the hand.
Turn more. Cool. Go for it.
So always just swirl your milk just to make sure that the foam and the liquid is intact. Okay, so we pour straight into the center again. And as soon as your cup is halfway, you're going to go to the end of the cup. And then you're going to wiggle your way till the cup is full. And then cut through it. And then this is how you make yourself a rosetta.
Good. And we'll take it.
One of the bigger base.
Close a little bit back.
And talk about what is the important thing that you should be watching out.
Turn a little bit
Cream
more
out
to
the
the
coffee.
light. To the light. Turn that way. No, to the right. There's the light.
This way. Yeah.
There we go. Go for it. Explain
Okay.
that.
So now we're going to make another rosetta. Still same technique. Make sure that you're mixing in the espresso with the milk. And then at 3/4, drop your jug lower and cut through the middle.
Cool. Good.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay, so what we're going to make now is swan, which we're going to make using a combination of the rosetta that we've done and a combination of the heart that we've done and the tulip. So the swan is going to be a combination of drags and also the tulip that we did, the heart that we did, and also the rosetta. So same order, my milk has still got to protect it the same way. So you'll notice with the latte art that there is no limit to what you can make. You can make absolutely anything, and in the world now we currently have 100 different techniques of which you can use to make whatever pattern that you feel like making. So what I'm going to show you is a very, very simple complex pour, of which you're going to use inverts and rosettas to complete.
I think we.
Okay, so this is the basic latte art that you're going to see out there. These are very simple to make. As you saw that we started when we made our cappuccino, we made a very simple heart. We then combined that heart and made tulips, and then we made what some might refer to as a leaf, but then it is a rosetta. And then we combined all these three for them to give us a swan, firstly with the tulips which are inverted and also the rosettas on the sides, and last a heart for the head of the swan. So a combination of these is going to give you different types of latte art, and you can play around, and it's a really fun journey to be on.
Good.
Thank you. Great, excellent. You want to take some break, or are you okay to finish it off? Rather just have a.
I was up at 5:30 and I haven't had breakfast.
Yeah, my daughters go to the school, so I have to drop them off and all that sort of thing, you know.
How old's your daughter?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
What more?
So you got some passion for food in general? You got some passion for food to make?
2 seconds, I'll tell you now.
Oh, sorry. No problem.
Yeah, my passion for the food is wide variety. I mean, I'm not.
All right, sounds ready.
Okay. So it is very imperative and a very good thing for a barista to understand the different types of coffees that we have and the different varieties that we have. In front of me here, I have a few varieties that I have, and I'm quickly going to get through this with you. Firstly, we have the green bean. This is unroasted. This is after harvest and after processing. Firstly, here I have the Arabica. This is the Arabica, which is going to be bigger in size and oval in shape. And then next to it, I have the Robusta. And these are the two varieties that are most commercially grown in the world. You can see the difference in color between these two. This is still green, but then it almost has this brownish color, and that is our Robusta. The Arabica was the first species that we found out, and the Arabica is responsible for 70% of the world's coffee that we have currently. The Robusta is much more smaller in terms of commercial growth and only contributes 30% to what we commercially grow. So this is in green bean form. We'll then move over to different roast profiles, different ways in which these beans can be roasted for different taste profiles. Firstly, I have a medium to dark Arabica. Something to note, you see the Arabica in size in green bean shape, it was smaller. In terms of roasting, when it gets roasted, it's going to change in color, and also it's going to increase in its size. As clearly as you can see that it's almost doubled in size after it has been roasted. So now I'm just going to introduce you different roast profiles. Coffee can be roasted either light, medium, or dark. Here is a medium to dark Arabica. You have a light to medium Arabica still. And then you have one interesting specialty coffee that we have here, which is called the pea berry. Usually in a coffee cherry, you're going to have two beans that lie with the flat sides together, but then it happens that sometimes there's a defect and you only get one bean inside. And this is what is called a pea berry coffee. Now you'll be surprised on what this is. If you've been consuming a whole lot of instant coffee, the main ingredient in instant coffee is what you call chicory. And chicory is what is made to make instant coffee. Chicory is a root of a plant. It isn't coffee. It is just a root of a plant that is used to make instant coffee.
Go for it.
Okay, so now that we've covered the extraction of a perfect shot of espresso, you now know all those different parts of the machine. You now know that there's a grinder. The most important part with anything, with any food product, with anything that you're going to go through is the cleaning of the machines. So the machines always have to be cleaned. There's things that you need to perform on a daily basis. So I'm going to quickly show you how to clean the machine, and this has to be done on a daily basis. This is quite an expensive piece of machinery, so it always needs to be taken care of on a daily. Things that you're going to need. Firstly, you're going to need machine detergent. The machine can only be cleaned with machine detergent. You cannot clean the machine with Jik, sunlight, or anything of that sort. What you need to clean it with is machine detergent, and it should say that it is actually espresso machine detergent. Why you want to do that is because the moment you start putting your portafilters and the machine into anything, your sunlight, the smell stays on the machine and it's going to affect the taste of your coffee. Secondly, you need this here. This is called the scoop brush, as we've covered in our small tools. It's what you're going to need to be brushing the group head, to clean the group head. And then lastly, to be able to open up your portafilters, you're going to need your Barista tool. Okay, so we'll begin. Here's my knockbox. In my knockbox I have hot water. I'll just get rid of that so that my portafilters can come in easily. Take my portafilters, knock out any spent coffee that's inside there. I'm then going to use this part of my Barista tool to open up and take off my basket. So my basket is off, it's been detached from the portafilter. I'm then going to add them into this hot water. Very important that you do not let the rubbers submerge into the hot water. I'm then going to take my detergent and I'm going to add 3 scoops. Of machine detergent into this water. Same thing with the other portafilter. I need to get the basket off. Into the water as well. Make sure that the rubbers do not get submerged.
How long do you leave it in there?
And then I'm going to leave it in here for 5 to 10 minutes. Within this 5 to 10 minutes, I'm only going to be doing other functions. So I'm going to leave this for 5 to 10 minutes and I'm going to start cleaning my group heads. For me to be able to clean my group heads, I need a blind portafilter. So remember that a blind portafilter is the portafilter that does not have perforations in it. It can come either just as metallic or it can come as a rubber. So in terms of blind, it can come as this, of which I'm going to add into a normal basket, and then I'm going to add my detergent. So it covers this place so that there's no water that comes through. So with my blind, I'm going to add half a scoop of machine detergent. This is my scoops brush. So I'm only going to add half of the scoop into the portafilter here. Going to insert my portafilter onto the group head, and then I'm going to run a water cycle of 10 seconds. I'm going to run this water cycle 3 times, so a total of 30 seconds. So first 10 seconds I'm going to stop it, second 10 seconds I'm going to stop it, so that's the first cycle, and then I'm going to run the second cycle.
What are you cleaning now, the nozzles or?
So what I'm cleaning now is the group head, which is the most important part of the espresso machine, and this is the part that harbors all the coffee. So another 10 seconds stop, and then I'm going to do one more cycle to allow the detergent to go through the group head and actually clean it out and then drain out of the machine. Stop, and then the last thing that I do, I'm going to swivel this portafilter to get rid of whatever detergent might still be left within the blind portafilter. So you'll see, I'll swivel until the water that's coming out of here clears out. Okay, done. Place my portafilter down there, and then I'm going to use this part of my scoops brush to make sure that I brush the area under the group head, which is my shower screens.
I'm just going to take this camera and just do a close-up on the bar, so we can kind of see what you're doing.
So once that's done, just going to quickly give the group head a rinse. And then the same thing will have to be performed for the group head that's next to it.
How many times a day, or only at the end of the day, or?
So this always has to be done at every end of day. So your machine is something that you need to clean on a daily. So this has to be done at every end of shift. Whoever is knocking off after every 12 hours, you need to make sure that this machine is cleaned this way. So 10-second cycle, 3 times, half a scoop of Ecozone, and then after that you're going to swivel to make sure that you get rid of any coffee that's still stuck in there. So you can see that there's no water that's coming out. That's because the blind portafilter is blocking the water. The detergent is actually getting into the machine and cleaning the machine. Once that's done, I'm going to open and close my portafilter till the water that's coming off is clear. And the very same thing as I did with the first group head.
How long should the cleaning take you?
The cleaning generally is going to take you between 10 to 15 minutes. It is not a timid process. It is a process that's very easy and has to be completed each and every day. Otherwise, you get all these oils that are within the coffee that are going to stay on these group heads. And the moment you try and make a new coffee, even though you have your grind set properly and your milk done properly, but because the machine is dirty, you're going to get coffee that doesn't taste so good.
How long can a machine stand during the day without taking coffee? Does it get clogged up in an hour's time, or not that bad?
So the machine can stand the whole day. What you do not want is the machine being not cleaned for a couple of days. So it has to be cleaned every day. You cannot skip a day, otherwise the oil stays. So just like food, you cannot cook with oil that you used yesterday. It's going to change the taste of what you're doing today. So just give it a rinse. And then now I'm going to move over to my portafilters, which I had recently soaked. So you'll notice now that the Ecozone actually eats away at all the dirt that's in here. So there is no need to use a scorer or anything, and there is no need for you to leave the portafilters overnight. So what I'm going to do now is just quickly give this a wipe and then run them under water to rinse them. So I'll leave this in here. And then the last part that I need to take out on my machine is my drip and waste trays.
Just move this a little bit.
I need to, this needs to go to the sink.
Yeah. I'll take it that way. You want to take it there?
It needs, I can swap it.
For
the shots.
You want to show how you clean it?
No, there's no,
Which is going to...
yeah, there's no really, you just need to,
What do you want to show in the video? Just removing it.
so I can just speak about it, this you remove and then.
You want to show that you're cleaning it.
Yes. This man-
Under the water. I mean.
Say again?
Do you want to show it under
So
the
it's
water?
not really the most important that is too, but then this needs to come off. Just there's no.
But you can maybe just show that it removes and say wash this off.
Yeah, just to, not to do full thing,
You don't have
but you
to
said
do-
this have to be removed, there's a drip tray of the water and you do it.
How you remove
And then after that, how to wipe the whole thing. What I wanted, one thing, like you know that you use the portafilter tool, it was too much of a distance, you have to show the technique. Where you're going to apply it, where you need to touch. So maybe you do it
Here,
here,
close up. Yeah.
closer. That's only one thing I
Alright.
think is
So
possible.
just show how you remove the plate and say this has to be washed off in the zinc.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So then from then you're now going to remove your drip and waste trays. When you remove them, make sure that you cover the hole here because it's going to lick on you. And take them under hot water. There is no special way on how to clean this. You just need to make sure that it's clean. So take it under a sink and then wash it with just hot water. And then quickly, you pop it back in there. And then last but not least, there's these two things here, our steamers that we need to clean. All you need to do with these is just run hot water. So you're just going to grab a jug of water and literally just steam up hot water. When you're done, steam on cloth, wipe. Same order. And that is your steam on clean. Okay. Do you need me to talk through it?
Yeah, explain it.
Okay. So to get rid, to take off the basket, you're going to use this part of your Barista tool. This end part here, you do not want to use this because it's going to damage your basket. You just want to use this part here.
Okay, go for it.
So just apply it in the corner of where the ear is and then just pop it off. And then you can take off your basket and
just demonstrate it all there. Don't lift it up and lift it down. So just put it on again. So every time you lift it up, I've got to bring the camera up and down.
Sorry.
So just show everything there. Also maybe just show there. Show which part you're using
Okay.
this on. Okay.
so for me to be able to
Right in front of
So
the
for me to be able to remove my portafilter basket, I need to use this part.
Sorry, just wait a minute. Sorry about that. Go for it again.
Okay. So for me to be able to remove my basket, I need to use this part of my Barista tool. You apply it just where the ear of the portafilter is. So I'm just going to put it in and then apply pressure and it pops, the basket pops off. Remember, you cannot use this spike here because it's going to damage your portafilter. You always need to use this part of your Barista tool to separate these two. After separation of these two, it's when now you can then put them into hot water and soak them with the detergent.
Cool. Good, next one.
Just mentioned a good quality professional barista recognized by his cleaning of the machine and how he look after his machine.
You're not cleaning and caring for it and all that. Good.
Okay.
Go for it.
So after you've done cleaning your machine, now you have to clean the parts that we didn't mention before. So the parts of the machine that are on the side, your side panels. Remember the cleaning of your grinder. You have to make sure that the grinder is off the socket and you clean it while it's off. You never put in your hand where the grinder burrs are. So a good quality barista, you're going to see with how clean their machine is. If the machine is not clean, then you'll see that it is impossible for you to get a great coffee. So a good barista makes sure that his machine is always clean and the area also around his machine is clean and spotless. So remember your surface cleaning brush. Firstly, you need to make your surface cleaning cloth, you need to make sure that you clean your machine. After the machine is clean, the surfaces around it also need to be cleaned. You are going to wipe and polish your machine. This silver, there shouldn't be any spots of milk that are on it. So after cleaning the machine, you need to wipe and dry the machine. You're going to use a wet cloth and a dry cloth to avoid any scratches that are going to be on the machine. Okay, so the surface cleaning cloth you're going to use to make sure that you wipe away any dirt that's on the surfaces and ensure that the person that's coming in to start a shift or coming in the next morning finds a surface that's clean and ready to use.
Any monthly thing?
Correct.
You want to keep you up too much. So I'm just going to do like a...
You can just talk about it, what it is, what. If you
Okay,
know what
yeah,
the
just
machine-
say it's a... Go for it. Just hold it there so it doesn't bang. Okay, go for it.
Okay, welcome. I'm sure you're wondering what's in front of me here. What I have here is called a sample roaster, and this is where roasting has come from. This is a very miniature machine. This only can take 100 grams of coffee on each drum. This is a drum roaster, so it will take 100 grams each at a time. So roasting has grown in leaps and bounds. This machine is almost 21 years old, but then now we have much more technologically advanced machines. So you'll get them much bigger in size, of which this can only roast 100 grams, but then you go further up, they can roast something like 5 to 10 kilos at a time. So almost 100 times more than this simple roaster will roast here. So it roasts.
Quick, how the process.
Yeah. So it roasting. You have the temperature gauges here. So that's a temperature gauge that you need to check. Obviously, with this being a manual roaster, you have to be checking it constantly. The beans get dumped into this drum here, which continuously rotates. And then what happens there's 4 types of things that happen. There's convection, radiation, and then direct conduction that actually roast the beans. Once the beans are roasted, they start at 12% moisture when they're still in green bean foam. And then as soon as they are roasted, they lose that moisture, they lose that water because of the heat. And then when they are roasted, there will be something like a 2.7 to 3.5% of moisture. So this is where I'm going to get my roasting done. And here is a small cooling tray. It is very, very important that your beans get cooled down after they're roasted. If not, if the cooling tray wasn't there, that means the coffee was going to continue roasting itself after it's been charged out of the drum roaster. So this is a small example of what a sample roaster is going to look like. This is a drum roaster with 2 cooling trays and the temperature controls over here.
So I'll just put it down.
So just when you're roasting, when you discharge whatever beans that you need to do, you're just going to pull this out, and then the beans are going to be charged onto the cooling tray for the beans to cool. And then obviously after you've roasted, you're going to wait a minimum of 24 to 48 hours to allow your coffee to lose, to degas, to lose carbon dioxide so that you can easily use it. If not, it's going to create pockets in your brew and it will be impossible for you to create a great coffee.
Good. Now, listen.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.